Hey everybody, it's Linda with Stamping School, the annual catalog, Stampin' Up! So it's May 2022. It's started. I've got so much to show you today. I want to show you how to use the Charming Sentiments dies. I have the new magnetic plate that I've been testing out. I want to show you that. But before I do, I want to just follow up. Last week, I showed you how to do a fun omitting technique using the candle wax. Remember that? So as I was typing up my blog post and the video was already done, it dawned on me that we could also do that by using a white crayon. So it's a really old technique. Just get a regular white crayon and color in over your images, and that will resist your ink. So when you go and do your sponging or your brushing or blending, the white crayon will resist the ink, and then you can just sort of wipe it off the top. I totally forgot about that. But it was fun to kind of play with the deodorant and the candles. So if you do like to play around with techniques, go look at that video. I'll link to it below. All right, this is the card that I'm going to be doing. So it's going to be using some fun designer paper and these dies, which I was pretty excited about because fussy cutting around sentiments is really popular, but I really hate to do it. So when I saw that we had dies that went with all the sentiments, I thought that was pretty cool. So I'm going to show you a few tricks and tips with that. So if you don't have a die cutting machine, the sentiments are really great. They have everything in there from babies to anniversary, congratulations, woohoo, you know, everything will be okay, birthdays. So, and it's inside and outside, which is kind of nice. Like babies are a blessing, so tiny, so precious, you know. So that's really clever. But if you like the look of a sentiment that is cut out all the way around it, then these are pretty cool. Now, they are a little finicky. I mean, you got to get them just right, but they're really, really nice and close and very intricate, and I was quite impressed with them. I think they look really nice. So here's a few tips with using those. So there's really no way. Here's the dies, as you can see. I ended up numbering them because I was having like a really hard time figuring out which one went to which one. So in the inside of the stamp case, I took a red Sharpie, and number 1 is good luck, and that corresponds with this die, which I put a little 1 on. I hope they last, but I mean, it's a Sharpie, and if it wears off, I can always put it back on there again. But I also wanted the number up top, so I knew that's the way that it went. So that would go, I would stamp it and it would go right over top of it easily. And they are close. So when you stamp it, I mean, you got to get it just, it's gonna match it up perfectly all the way around. So that's a tip, because that way the next time you go to use them, you're not going to try to figure out which one's which, because there's a few skinny ones, like this one is number 9, so that I know when I look at number 9, it's going to fit that congratulations stamp right there. So even if you don't leave them on a magnetic sheet, at least they're numbered and you can find them easily. The other thing that was kind of interesting with this, it's an expensive bundle. I think it's $52, but there are 30 dies. So not only do they give you the words, but then they give you all of these cuties that go with it. So you've got candles, and this one will cut into the paper. That's why it looks like that as a square. So you would die cut that in your card and then add your candle die on top of it. It's got a stem and a flower. I thought it was a butterfly at first. I think it could be. And stars and hearts. So that's sweet that they have extras to go with it. So I ended up using my Stamparatus and inked them all on a piece of 5.5 inch wide cardstock and inked them all up at once, and then just trimmed around them loosely and then added the dies. And you could even cut them this way with the dies. The dies are so nice and close that it's a great way to get a whole bunch of greetings all at one time. Next thing I want to show you is the new and improved magnetic plate. As you guys might remember, a year or so ago, Stampin' Up! Came out with their own die cutting machine, and they had a magnetic plate, and we soon realized that with a lot of use, like we do, it became a cereal bowl or a serving platter. And so they pulled it, they refunded people, and they said, we're gonna work on it. So I continue to use mine, but as you can see, it really wouldn't stay flat. And then I bought another one on, I think it was scrapbook.com, which actually looks exactly like this one. And it did exactly the same thing. It bowed, it warped, it was no good. So I was so happy to see they came out with this new one, and check this out. It's almost 2 pounds, first of all. It's really heavy duty. It does not bend at all. They put metal on the back of it. So if you can see, this one is sort of a, I don't know what it is, some kind of a plastic bendy material. This one it doesn't go anywhere. It is fantastic. It's magnetic, and it takes the place of your bottom plate. Now, there was a mistake in the insert. So if you bought this, the insert with the directions say the layering is the number 1, 2, and then this one, but that's incorrect. That's going to be too much. So they're working on a different insert, but let me show you how this works. So you're going to put in your platform, which is number 1. And normally when you're die cutting, you put on this little die adapter. Number 2, you do not want to put that in there. And this is going to be the same if you have a Big Shot. It's going to be your regular platform, and then take off that top thin piece. So yours might still be on a hinge, just move that away, or just take off the thin die adapter. So it's just number 1, and then this number 5 they're calling it, and that's the new one. It's really heavy, and the magnet is throughout. It's not little dots, which is wonderful. It's absolutely all the way through. It cuts like a dream, I'm telling you. Now I'm going to use this die because we're going to use it today. You're going to see, oh, it's just amazing. And it holds pretty well. Look at that. Really, really nice. And then your clear plate on top. So it's only 3 things, really. It's your bottom plate, and then the magnetic plate, your paper and die, of course, and then your clear plate on top. And that's all you need. I mean, cuts like butter. It is fantastic. Just really, really, really nice. It's going to work great for your intricate dies. I mean, woo, it's wonderful. So after having used it all weekend, I can recommend it. It's $28. I know it's a lot, but if you want a magnetic plate, it's a good one. All right, now we're going to get to this project. We've already cut this out. I started with Granny Apple Green for my card base because I thought maybe I might use Parakeet Party, but it was just a little bit too bright to go with the flowers. And here's all the different greens: Old Olive, Pear Pizzazz, and this is the Granny Apple Green, which used to be our brightest green, but now Parakeet's much brighter. This is the Awash and Beauty Suite. It is gorgeous. You can get the whole suite of things, which is the paper and these little pearls and the stamp set and the dies, or you can get just the flower and die bundle. Or if you just want to add something fresh to your already collection of flower stamps that you probably have, this paper is beautiful. Look how pretty. So this is one of those papers where you can cut it down the middle and then cut into 4-inch panels and make 6 cards from one sheet. You get 2 of each, so you can get 12 easy cards right there from that. And then there's some more overall prints. Look how pretty. Awash and Beauty. Really pretty. Look at that. We have an artist at Stampin' Up! That watercolors these. Oh, there's a little butterfly on there. And she watercolors, and then they take pictures, and that's how they make the paper. She's very talented. So this paper is where I've got all of these from. They're just the same as the stamp set, but like I said, if you don't want to buy another flower set, then you can just get these, and you can just cut around these yourself with scissors. But if you do happen to get the dies and the whole thing, these all cut out. So all of these will cut. So it's really nice because if you don't like fussy cutting, then that works really nice. This one's like an accent one. This does these little guys. There's the leaves. Even these blue flowers will cut out here. Here's this one. And that's like that for this whole, and you get 2 sheets of that. So that's kind of nice. And you get another little one too. And then the back sides, of course, like they always do, which I love, are the subtle prints. So you can use the reverse sides when you need to have something subtle and painted in the back. Pretty, pretty, pretty. For this card, I didn't have the heart to cut this one up for the back because I just love that too much. So I'll show you a little trick. I'm gonna do a treatment on this. So I have my Granny Apple Green and I have a white craft pad and white ink, and I'm just gonna go direct to the paper. Just do a little bit of swiping across here just to add a touch of white to lighten and just kind of give it some movement there. And then I want that ink in the lid, so you press from the bottom. Use one of these aqua painters or a wet paintbrush with some water. And just give it some darker swooshes across. And it's gonna dry. It's also gonna help blend the white a little if you blobbed it. And remember, this lattice is going over it, so it's okay if it's not perfect. And then give yourself a little bit of extra water and splatter. Do some splatters on it. And let it dry. So if you like that washed look, but you don't want to waste the designer paper, that's the way to go. So remember a few weeks ago, my friend Cindy Brumbaugh told me about these glue bottles from Amazon. They're amazing. So I took some of my regular Tombow green glue and put it in there. It's got a little fine tip. You get a whole bag of them. I'll link to them in the description in the video below. But I got a lot of bottles and they weren't that expensive at all. And they have a little, rubber stopper on the top, and it has not gotten clogged at all, and I've even forgotten it for a few hours. I used one for like my crystal lacquer, and then I used one for my white glue. And I used one for the fine tip glue just to see how it works, and it works great. So anyway, I've been using these, and it's really nice for things like this. And actually this drives me crazy. So I just took a little piece of painter's tape and I just hold it down when I'm working with it. I mean, you can use your sponge dauber and you can, dab your glue on, but I just went really quickly in all of the little corners. And this is a super fine tip. Oh, it's so nice. Thank you, Cindy, for recommending them. I still get to use my favorite glue. Stampin' Up! Sells that Tombow multi-glue, and I love it. And this now gives me more control of little tiny tips. So this is going to go down first. And with that wet glue, just hold it down for a few seconds. And it's such a tiny little bit, like if you miss just a little corner, you can just go in and add just that teeny little bit. Nice. I was texting with my friend Stephanie last night, and I showed her this, and I actually had this butterfly on here too. I actually think I had a white one on there. She goes, that's a lot going on. I'm like, yeah, I know. So it's good to have a little empty space, but if you want to put a little butterfly or something, you can. And I'm gonna use a few less flowers this time, but these are all cut from that designer paper. And then these two I cut from the glitter ombre paper in the In Colors. Look how pretty this is. It's 6 by 6. You get all the new In Colors in there, and it's like from dark to light for the ombre, or light to dark. It's really pretty. So if you like the new In Colors, that's kind of fun to do. So I know that I like this large piece kind of shooting up right here, and I know that I really like this blush color right here. I'm going to try this smaller flower instead of this one. I'm going to do a couple of these leaves here. I like that. It's getting just as big. That's okay. I like it. All right, and here, let's get a few little sparklies and some more leaves right down here. Let's add this little swag. Maybe, let's do that swag up here. I do like this little pop of yellow somewhere. He's kind of pretty. Already it's getting big. I also added a little piece of ribbon. We've got that new sparkly in color ribbon. And so I added just a snippet of it just to give a little more texture. So I'm just going to slide a little piece of that in. I love sparkly ribbons, and just a little bit of sparkle goes a long way. My sparkle friends, you know who you are. It's quickly becoming as large as the other one. Let's add just this little leaf right here. I'm just going to add a little bit of this sparkle right here. Get that dimensional to hold it down. Okay, well, pretty much as busy as the last one. This one I'm just going to put thank you right here. One thing you want to keep in mind when you're using these sentiments that are trimmed out, got to have something that it lands on or it's going to get lost. So it's got to be darker, and it has to be on something so that you can actually see it. Now we've got new sequins. I highly recommend these. They're fantastic. They come in a box, and there's 3 different colors in the box, and they come in these containers, which is so nice. Greens, pinks, and blues. And they have gold, a little gold and silver, and oh my gosh, they are so, so nice. I was really happy with these. So lots of different shades of blues and pinks and greens. So I scattered some of those all over the card right here. And then on the inside, I put a little piece of that designer paper. My little thank you was on the inside, and some of that ribbon right there. Now with this paper, if you don't want to go to all this trouble, let me show you what a panel of this looks like. Here's my Granny Apple Green card, and here is one piece out of that designer paper I showed you, 4 inches by 5 1/4. I ran it through an embossing folder. This is the painted embossing folder. So literally, how easy is that? You can just do that. Now this is a sentiment from the Lovely and Lasting, and it has this label and a coordinating punch. So if you'd rather have a punch bundle, this is a really good one. Lots of pretty sentiments in there, and the punch and that nice label that has the stitching around it. It looks like that. So you can just do something like that with a little bit of ribbon, maybe a couple butterflies, maybe a couple sequins, and easy cards there. Whew, that was a lot. Thanks for hanging with me, and we'll see you next time. See it, learn it, stamp it.